If you're doing a 16-8 fasting, you might be wasting your effort because a new 2025 analysis has found another fasting method that burns nearly twice as much fat. But before you switch, there's a catch. There's always a catch that could either make or break your results. This new paper was published in the British Medical Journal, analyzed 99 clinical trials with more than 6,500 participants. And what it found shocked a lot of researchers. The classic 16-8 fasting method, the one everyone on social media swears by, turned out to be the least effective for weight loss. But one fasting strategy quietly outperformed all the others. It helped people lose almost twice as much weight as those who were fasting at all. Though there's a big caveat most people miss. So stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll know which fasting style actually worked best, why it works, and whether it's even worth trying. The study. Now, this wasn't an influencer's experiment. It came straight from the British Medical Journal, published in June 2025, which is as credible as it gets. The researchers compared 5 different diet approaches. The first was time-restricted eating, which you probably know as the popular 16-8 method. The second was whole day fasting, often called the 5-2 diet, where you eat normally for 5 days and fast or eat very low calories on the 2 non-consecutive days each week. They also looked at alternate day fasting, where you fast every other day. Then there was continuous calorie restriction, the traditional daily calorie deficit diet most people are familiar with. And finally, they included a controlled group, people who simply ate whatever they wanted. Most participants were overweight and obese, about 2/3 were women, and I think there were some type 1 diabetics, some that had metabolic syndrome, and others that I believe had fatty liver disease. The trials typically ran for about 12 weeks, though some went as long as a year. So this is real world weight loss data, not a group of 20-year-old gym rats chasing their 6-packs. So what did they find? Let's start with the most popular style, time-restricted eating, the 16-8 pattern. It was the least effective overall, with people losing about 3.5 pounds compared to those who weren't fasting at all. Next up was continuous calorie restriction, your classic eat fewer calories every day plan. That produced around 4.5 pounds of weight loss. Then came whole day fasting, better known as the 5-2 diet. That's the 5 days of normal eating with 2 low calorie or fasting days. That group lost about 5 pounds. And finally, the clear winner, alternate day fasting. People following this pattern lost 7.5 pounds on average compared to those who weren't fasting at all, nearly twice as much as those doing 16-8. When researchers compared the fasting method directly, alternate day fasting beat 16-8 by about 3 pounds and outperformed both the 5-2 and calorie restricted by roughly 2 pounds. So not only did 16-8 rank last, but the style nobody talks about came out on top. Now, you might be thinking, that's only a few pounds, and that's true. But the researchers used what's called a clinical meaningful threshold, about 4.5 pounds of weight loss. That's where doctors start seeing measurable improvements in blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol. Alternate day fasting easily cleared that bar. 16-8 didn't. So while the gap might look small on paper, it's the difference between looking leaner and actually improving your metabolic health. The researchers didn't directly test why alternate day fasting worked better, but the results line up with what we already know about how fasting affects your metabolism. When you fast for a full 24 hours, your body fully depletes stored glucose and spends more time running on fat for fuel. That deeper metabolic switch doesn't quite happen during the 16-hour fast. These longer fasts also appear to improve insulin sensitivity, helping your body use nutrients more efficiently instead of storing them as fat. And here's something you might not expect. Some people actually find alternate day fasting easier than calorie counting. When you're dieting daily, you're thinking about food all the time. At least I am. Breakfast, snacks, dinner. With alternate day fasting, it's black and white. You're either fasting today or you're not. For certain people, that clarity makes it mentally easier to follow. But there's a catch. These results only held up in the short term. When researchers looked at trials lasting 6 months or longer, the differences between fasting styles, they disappeared. Over time, alternate day fasting, 16-8, and standard calorie restriction all produced similar results. Why? Because people stopped sticking to it. In a 1 year-long study of the 5-2 diet, adherence dropped from 74% at 6 weeks to just 22% after a year. This is because fasting entire days it's hard. It's socially awkward, mentally draining, and tough to sustain. So, while alternate day fasting works, the problem is staying consistent. Now, here's the encouraging part. Even beyond weight loss, alternate day fasting improved several markers of metabolic health. It lowered total cholesterol, triglyceride, and non-HDL, that's the bad cholesterol, more than 16-8 did. The 5-2 diet also outperformed 16-8 for total cholesterol. And all fasting approaches, though, they did all lower fasting glucose and insulin, meaning they all improved insulin resistance. So that's good for all of them. But alternate day fasting showed the strongest effect. And there wasn't much difference in the HbA1c or HDL by itself cholesterol. But alternate day fasting did lead to a small improvement in systolic blood pressure. So even when the scale difference is modest, the metabolic benefits ran deep. And alternate day fasting showed no safety concerns with mild side effects. As a matter of fact, out of 99 trials, over half reported no side effects. The rest mostly mentioned mild issues like hunger, dizziness, headache, constipation, or nausea, typically in the first week or two, until their bodies pretty much adjusted to it. Only one serious case occurred, a diabetic participant. They experienced mild low blood sugar, but they continued the trial under some supervision safely. So for healthy adults, alternate days fasting appears safe. Still, if you have diabetes, take medication, are pregnant, or have a history of disordered eating, talk to your doctor first. Now, the big question, should you try it? Here's my take. If you want faster short-term results, say within the next 3 months, alternate day fasting might be the most effective option in that scenario. It's also ideal if you hate counting calories and prefer strict structure over daily moderation. But if your goal is long-term sustainability, this might not be the best fit. After 6 months, many individuals they couldn't maintain it. And that's where consistency beats intensity. So in that case, the 5-2 diet or a simple daily calorie deficit may be the better choice for you. Both still produce meaningful results without the same mental strain. The good news is fasting isn't a one-size-fits-all. If alternate day fasting sounds too extreme, you've got options. The 5-2 plan only requires 2 days of fasting per week, say Monday and Thursday, giving you structure with flexibility. You can also use the alternate day fasting as a 12-week kickstart, then transition to the 16-8 or daily calorie restriction for maintenance. Or try modified alternate day fasting, where you eat around 500 calories on fasting days instead of just going to 0. And if you prefer time-restricted eating, time your window differently. Do an 18-6 or a 24 instead of a 16-8. The point is, you're not locked into one rigid plan. Choose what fits your lifestyle and what you can actually keep doing. Final take. At the end of the day, every approach comes down to 2 things: energy balance and adherence. Fasting is just one way to create a caloric deficit. The best method is the one you can actually stick with. So what do you think? Have you tried 16-8, 5-2, or alternate day fasting yourself? Drop a comment below and let us know your experience with it. This is David. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. It helps the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one.